Not long ago, there were headlines all over the place that the Mexican Supreme Court had decriminalized abortion and that these were totally mainstream outlets that were reporting it: the Associated Press, Reuters, CNN, BBC, and many more. Here in the United States, we saw the headlines, myself included, and assumed the story was legit and that the Mexican pro life movement had suffered a huge setback. My guest today actually DM'd me on Twitter and told me I had some of my facts wrong. So I've asked him to come on and shed some light on what's going on, what was the misunderstanding. At best it was a misunderstanding. At worst, it might have been a large-scale manipulation. So my guest is Carlos Polo. He is a social anthropologist and developer of citizen participation tools. As a consultant in political strategy, he has also had 20 years of experience in public entities and NGOs. He's a trainer in these areas. He's trained in more than 18 countries, 150 events. He right now serves at the Population Research Institute. He's the director of the Ibero-American office. As y'all might remember, one of our most popular episodes here, Explicitly Pro-Life, was of his boss from the Population Research Institute, Steve Mosher, and we were talking about population and demographics in China. So, Carlos, thanks for coming on today. I really appreciate it, and it's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. It is a pleasure for me. And you're concerned about Mexico and the
Yes.
Mexican life is.
Yeah, I was excited to talk to you a little bit more and get to meet you. Can you, I guess, talk us through what happened versus what the media reported?
But it's incredible that the mass media, the most important newspapers or TV broadcasters, are lying about a case in Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
The Supreme Court attended a demand of a single NGO in a kind of demand that it's called amparo in Spanish. The amparo is a legal figure when you demand uh, to the state that your rights has your personal rights have been cancelled. You can demand for the rights of others, but if someone is canceling your free speech or you're free of movement or some of your rights, you can demand an amparo. This NGO, HIRE, is the name of the Mexican NGO, is a pro-abortion. They made lobby and advocacy pro-abortion in favor of abortion. Demand the state and says that they are represent on behalf of the Mexican women to demand an abortion. So the the first instance, the original case, says that it's impossible to have an amparo in behalf Mexican women for this organization. But the Supreme Court changed the first decision and accept the case in the Supreme Court and says that Gire could make an amparo, but, and this is the most important, uh, the Supreme Court accepted the amparo for Gire, only for Gire, and the women represented by Gire, not for all Mexican women.
Hmm.
And that's what the mass media is saying, that the
Yeah.
Mexico has decriminalized the abortion for everybody, From now on, every doctor could perform an abortion freely. And this is false. And, and they are trying to make acceptable the idea, so make it difficult for the opposition to present any resistance.
Hmm.
That's the main idea about it.
So, just to recap, abortion is not legal everywhere in Mexico now.
No, it's not legal, not everywhere. Uh, for example, in Mexico City, is only until the 12th week of pregnancy, um, for free, and some other states, but many other states in here, this is a federation, like United States. Every single state has his own laws. Uh, they have a penal code when abortion is criminalized in some circumstances. It's different in any state, but many of the states, the most part of the states, protect life from conception in his constitution, and of course the penal code sanction the abortion, and there is no abortion on demand on Mexico.
Okay. And are there, so these women who are associated with this NGO, they're allowed to have an abortion?
No, not in some states when they protect life from conception.
No.
The women are not allowed,
Okay.
not the doctor, to perform an abortion. Even when the Supreme Court decision will be released, because there is a special proceeding in the Supreme Court in Mexico. They have an oral audience whenever each judge presents his votes, is a speech, and then some weeks after that, the final decision texts appear. If this final text has not appeared, but uh, the oral audience and the sense of every vote in the oral audience uh, usually is respected in the final test. And it's very clear that the Supreme Court decision is not, in Latin, you say, erga omnes, not for everybody, because the amparo, the legal figure, is only a personal demand for personal rights, not for everybody.
Hmm. That's interesting. How, I guess, do you think that eventually the Supreme Court in Mexico will overrule the states and do what they did here in America in 1973 with Roe versus Wade? Do you think that's coming?
Well, this Supreme Court decision is, of course, a step to legal abortion on
Yeah.
demand in Mexico, of course.
So it's a step.
But it's not what they are saying in the mass media. It's not the final
Mm-hmm.
decision. They need to go to the Congress,
Yeah.
because it's not the judges, it's not the judicial power, but the legislative power, the Congress, who um, uh, who are who have the competence to
Yep.
change the law.
Do you have,
It's very
is the
interesting that
legislature pro life or is the legislature pro abortion?
not now, not now. Uh, if everybody knows, Andres Lopez Obrador, the president, and his political party is not pro-life; it's pro-abortion. It's a lefty party. Socialist. It's a socialist. It's pro-abortion. It's pro-LGBT and many other issues of the leftist agenda, the globalist agenda. But this is the figure right now. No, next elections in the next year could change the situation, because in Mexico and in other countries of Ibero-America, we are sick of the socialist communist presidents, because poverty is increasing. There are more people that are poor, are suffering in Mexico, in Peru, in Argentina. It's very interesting in Argentina, because in Argentina they have had a socialist president and political power with a little periods or a central power, political parties of the center. But the line is socialist the last 100 years, Peronism. And half of the population in Argentina are very poor. In a rich country, one of the richest countries in the world, 100 years ago, one of the top 10 rich countries in the world, they have a lot of cows, meat, wheat, and they have a lot of agriculture and many other resources. But now they are one of the poorest countries in the world. They are sick. They have a lot of violence. And guess what? The next president could be right-wing president, no socialist, and pro-life.
Yeah,
Javier Milei.
I think Tucker Carlson just interviewed him, right?
Yes, in the most uh, view interview in Twitter or X right now in the world, more than 400 millions of viewers in internet. If you hear that interview, you would see a pro-life president, a very popular president, a kind of very interesting character, because he was a rock singer. Javier Milei was also a soccer player. He was a goalkeeper. Soccer is a kind of religion in Argentina. No, Messi. Yeah, you have heard that. Well, something that in United States is not very known, but my boss Steven Mosher, once in a trip in Argentina, we in Mexico, I in the hotel room, I need to watch. We were sharing a room in a hotel, and I say to Steve, I need to see the final game of the soccer championship, and in Argentina and Brazil, and he was impressed that all the people was uh, singing, shouting more than 2 hours without stopping. And this is Javier Milei. This is Javier Milei. Javier Milei is very clear. It's very aggressive with the leftists. Let me get back to Mexico. In Mexico, Eduardo Verástegui, this producer of Sound of Freedom movie, is a
I was getting there.
candidate for president.
That's right.
Do
Eduardo
you like
Verástegui.
Eduardo Verástegui?
Yeah.
Do you like Eduardo Verástegui?
Yes,
Because
I have a great picture with him. I hope I have a great picture with the future president of
my
Mexico,
wife is a fan also.
All the ladies are fans, Carlos. All the ladies are
Yeah.
fans of Eduardo Verástegui.
Yes, But things are changing in even
Yeah.
American countries.
That's,
And also in Chile, my
mhm.
personal friend, Jose Antonio Cast, uh, was lost the last presidential election,
Mhm.
but in the last election for a new constitution in Chile,
Mhm.
he won, and his political party has the majority in the constitutional assembly, and he is he is leading the writing of a new constitution, and
Hmm.
they stopped a communist constitution, a pro-abortion, pro-gender constitution, and now, God willing, the constitution in Chile is
Mhm.
going to be pro-life because they have
Amen.
passed the Article 16,
Okay.
which protects life from conception. They say the right to life is for those who are about to be born, something
Mhm.
like that in English. The text in Spanish is difficult to translate, but it's something like that.
That's great. I mean, Chile's been, I mean, for years it was a very pro life country, and actually, I actually would talk about Chile a lot because it also had a very low maternal mortality rate, which the argument in the abortion lobby often is, well, if you make abortion illegal in a country, the maternal mortality rate, the death of women who die or pregnant, skyrockets, and Chile proved that wrong, obviously. Um, what about other countries? I mean, one of the questions I wanted to ask you about is we've known during the Obama administration, certainly during the Biden administration, there's been, we know through the U.S. State Department, there are pro abortion advocates in our State Department at USCID who try to export their abortion culture into countries who are seeking aid from America. And have you noticed an uptick in that with the Biden administration of money going into countries and government officials being pressured to adapt or create pro-abortion policies?
Yes, but they are very careful about it. I personally denounce many times
Mm-hmm.
the interference of USAID
Yep.
in the internal issues here in Peru. I, for example, tape a pro-abortion political actor, a parliamentarian, a congressman here in Peru, promoting abortion with the logo of USAID behind in a conference. And when I taped that, because it was a closed meeting, I I could attend the meeting because I said that I was a journalist, and they believed me. Big mistake. I put the video
Mm-hmm.
in the Chris Smith's office, your
Mm-hmm.
representative of,
Congressman Chris Smith from New Jersey, Republican, but he's
yes,
a
my
huge
friend.
in international human rights work.
Yeah, yeah, he is my friend. I'm very proud of saying so because
He is.
I,
He's great.
I put the video on his hands, and guess what? The the head of USAID in Peru get got mad, crazy mad, and sent the congressman, the Peruvian congressman, to beg the Chris Smith pardon, saying, "I'm a pro-life congressman. I'm not trying to legalize abortion." And of course, Chris Smith uh, didn't uh, didn't give a meeting. He speak with his assistant, and the assistant says, "But what are you saying? We have a video of you."
Mm-hmm.
promoting abortion.
Mm.
You're lying. Because let me say so. Pro-abortion people lies.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
pro-abortion mass
That's what
media
they do.
lies.
That's right.
And returning to the issue of Mexico and the Supreme Court decision. Why is it important to say that they in Mexico they don't pass the decriminalization or abortion, uh, despite we note that is a step to legalize abortion in a socialist pro-abortion administration of Manuel López Obrador, because we are uh, we are fighting a cultural war. They lie to win the cultural war, to to uh, to decrease the opposition, to make that we feel that we have lost yet. But it's not true. Mexican people, in the most, are very pro-life, are Catholic. You have the Virgen of Guadalupe,
Mm-hmm.
the boat Virgen de Guadalupe. All the region in Iberoamerica are devoted to the Virgin of Guadalupe. Every Mexican is not Catholic, but is devoted to Virgen de Guadalupe. Uh, and we are very pro-life, but we need to fight the cultural war.
That's right.
If you win the cultural war, in the future, you will win the political battles.
Yes, that's right.
And your United States people are a good example of that,
Mm.
because Roe versus Wade was is not uh, uh, is not a current law in United States because you win the cultural war and you win some political battles to make possible to reverse Roe versus Wade.
And we're still fighting
That's
that
we are.
culture war, Carlos.
Yes, of
It's
course.
every single day.
Yes, but in this moment of happiness, you have won
Mm-hmm.
a period. The
That's right.
cultural war is permanent.
Mm.
That we need to cultivate a winning spirit in the pro-life movement. We're
Mm-hmm.
here to win.
That's right.
We're not here to resist. I'm trained, and I've been training the most important pro-life organization in 18 countries in Iberoamerica and Spain, and give some courses in United States about political tools,
Mm-hmm.
because it's politics.
That's right.
We are we are facing a political um, structure that is pro-abortion.
That's right.
So we need to be trained in
Yeah.
politics.
That's right. That's absolutely right. You're very right. We actually at Students for Life, we have our sister organization, Students for Life Action, and one of the things we do, no matter what's going on, whether it's legislative or election season, we have a pro-life political workshop. It's in full day, 8 hours. Any pro-life activist can request it to have one of these workshops in their community. We can hold it at a church, a school, any place. Just recruit, 20 folks. We will come and do a free pro-life workshop and go through tactics and strategies and how grassroots everyday pro-lifers can win, and how we can engage in the culture, but we can also engage in politics. And I 100% agree with you. You've got to keep fighting that culture war, because I do believe that politics is downstream from culture. I think our laws can inform culture, they can shape culture, but it ultimately begins with that creating that culture of life. Carlos, I want to thank you so much for coming on today and setting me straight on Twitter when I was wrong and believing the lies of the abortion lobby. You've given me great hope. We certainly have a lot to pray about the direction of Mexico, where Mexico is going. Pray that Eduardo Vestergi, he's the star of the pro-life film Bella. In case you were wondering who I was talking about, Google it. You can host a free screening on your campus or your church of the movie Bella. It's an incredible pro-life film. He's running for president of Mexico, which we dearly need to see Eduardo victorious in that election that's coming up because of the left turn that Mexico has taken with these socialists and leftists. By the way, did you mention here, socialism, abortion, always go hand in hand, folks. I just wanted to make sure you heard that from Carlos and what's been happening across Central and South America. But Carlos, thank you so much for coming on. Where do folks stay in touch with you and stay kind of in tune maybe with what's happening in Central and South America when it comes to the status of abortion laws?
In Central America, you say? In Central America?
Mm-hmm.
In Central America, you have some very social countries, administration, excuse me, like Nicaragua,
Mm-hmm.
is a dictatorship
Yeah, it has nuns in prison. Yeah.
and is very pro-abortion, anti-Catholic, and you
Yep.
say these are the same coordinates, no? Socialist, pro-abortion, anti-Catholic, but you have some other countries. El Salvador, for example, uh, which is not pro-abortion, is pro-life, kind of pro-life, pro-freedom, uh, pro-peace, not socialist, not globalist. Uh, Panama, Costa Rica, Guatemala has had a pro-life president, but in the next election is a uh, lefty president. But the most important, that's what I say in every single training session. Politics is not about president. Politics is about what you can do to change the mind of the president, of the authorities, and perhaps one president could uh, let you do more things than others. But
Mm-hmm.
it's always about you and your organization and your cause, your pro-life cause.
Mm-hmm.
Because perhaps some of the frequent errors or weakness in the pro-life organization in my region is to wait that authorities defend, promotes life, and you are a passive when you need to be proactive.
Mm-hmm.
And when you are proactive in the cultural war, in any political battle,
Mm-hmm.
you could make uh, you could make a difference, a
Mm-hmm.
very big difference, because they are lying. We are saying the truth. When you lie, you're weak. You need to hide the truth, and they are in defensive, and we are on the offensive. And that's it. In Central America, in South America, but um, indeed, actually, we have many lefty presidents, but things are changing. Things are changing.
That's awesome. That's so great to hear. Thank you, Carlos, for all that you do. I'm really appreciative of your leadership and your experience level and what you're doing. What's the website that people should follow you on?
Is the Population Research Institute website is pop.org. Is in English, of course. There's a section for Ibero-American issues, and we are doing, especially in the Ibero-American office, we are focused. Our mission is to train and improve other pro-life organizations. This is my mission. I usually help others. In some cases, in Peru, is my country. I'm here. I I am in the political battle, but many other times I'm giving some advice to other pro-life people in other countries to face their own battles.
Mhm. That's awesome. Thank you so much for what you do. You heard it from Carlos today yourself. Go to pop.org so you can follow his work in Central and South America. And you can get your facts straight, including myself, talking to myself about what we're hearing. And don't be fooled by the abortion lobby. I mean, they want to kill babies for a living. So I guess we shouldn't be surprised that they kind of lied to us about what happened in Mexico. Thank you, Carlos, for joining me today. I really appreciate it. And thank you all for tuning into this very special episode. I hope it was educational for you. It was certainly informative and educational for me. And keep Mexico in your prayers, Pro-Life Jen. Bye-bye.